Hi everybody, and welcome to the session. Before we get started here, I would like just to go through some house rules. So I'm just going to start by doing that. So first of all, you'll have some GoToWebinar functionalities. And in the functionalities, you can see that your microphone is muted, but please enter your questions into the chat pane, and we will be able to take your questions at the end. There will be a 5-minute break minimum between sessions here today, so you have plenty of time to change to other sessions if you want to do that, or other tracks. The conference will be recorded and distributed, so you'll also be able to go and review anything. If you have any need for technical help or any other requests, please go to the hub. There should be a link in the email that you've got into the hub, and you can ask all the questions you need in there. All questions, both from the chat and the hub, will be registered, and we will get back to you. Okay, so welcome to this session about saving time with recording template. And first of all, I'm going to show you my agenda for today. So I will start by going through an introduction of myself, and once I've done that, I will talk a little bit about the manual changes that I'm going to focus on here today, and make sure that everybody is on the same track. And once that's done, I will also talk about the template change, which we're here for, and show you this in a live demo as well. At the end, we will have time for questions if you have any. So first of all, introduction about me. So I'm just gonna scroll a little bit down here and tell you that essentially that I've been working with training the last 27 years of my career, and within the 11 years also, I've been working with implementation of different IT projects. Since September 2016, I've been with ClickLearn and focusing on learning onboarding of customers. So that was the last point here. Okay, so manual changes. Some of the manual changes that you can do in a recording is, an example, adding chapters, sub-chapters, and notes into your recording. Is maybe some of the most important information that you actually can add in there, besides where the action is. So this is what we see most customers do, add this manually in there. As such, there's nothing wrong with doing so, but you risk losing consistency by doing it by yourself. So imagine having 10 different authors working with the same learning portal, and they're all adding in whatever chapters they want to be adding in there. So of course, you might also have thought about that beforehand and instructed everybody to put in chapters, sub-chapters, notes, stuff like that in a correct order and so on. And that's of course nice if you did this. You're also using time on doing this. So this is something that can be handled automatically by ClickLearn if it's changes, or if it's something that you want to add generically to all the different recordings you have in your learning portal. This might not seem like a lot of time that you're using on this. So let's just say maybe 1 minute on doing the manual changes in there. But if we do a simple calculation on this, you might see that if it just takes 1 minute, maybe we have 500 recordings in our learning portal. So that equals basically 500 minutes. So then it's actually something that's worth figuring out here. So let me go into the system and show you how this has been handled. So just to make sure that everybody is on track here, I'm going to start by showing you what we are talking about here. So just give me a second. And there we go. So I have ClickLearn Studio open here. And just to show you what I'm talking about, I'd like to go into one of my recordings in here. So this is probably most of you already know how to do this. But in here, I can add stuff into my recording as well. So stuff that I need to be added, important information for the end users. I'm just going to add a little bit up here. So let's say I want to have a a chapter coming in here. And below this chapter, I might want to have some kind of a note saying something about how to use this guide and so. And below this, maybe one more chapter, sort of just to be building up the structure so the end users will have an easy time figuring out how everything is put together. I might want to add even more chapters as we go along. I might also want to add an endnote at the end. So I need to go up here and put in some kind of a note that tells the end users that they have ended the process. Congratulations, you've now completed the process, or maybe that they need to go on to another process, stuff like that. All of this right now, I'm handling this manually, and this is what I want to show you how to add into a template. So you have this added each and every time you create a new recording. So it's simply just going in there and filling out the blanks, basically. Okay, I'm not going to do any change to this one, so I'm just going to not save my changes, so still I don't have any changes coming in there. Okay, so let's try to change this in the template. So I'm just going to go into Tools, Preferences, and up here into the template and look into editing of the recording template. So I press there. And for those of you who don't know much about the template consists everything that you're producing on. So you have a source file that is a recording that you've captured with ClickLearn Studio, and then everything that's applied to this template. So the words that are in the guiding words, the screen size that's in the cropped images, the cropped or the highlighted area that you have in there, the color of the highlighted area, start and end screen of the video, everything is actually based upon this template. So there are a lot of things that you can change in here. I'd like to go here below process instruction. And down here in the process instruction, I will find the two steps or the two menus down here, new recording steps and new recording steps after. These are the ones I want to be focusing on now. And if I go into the first one, new recording steps, I can see they put in an example. You probably can't see that that clearly on your screen. So I'm just going to copy all of this and put this into a Word document. There we go. And just paste it in here so you can see what we actually have here. So this is put in there beforehand, so you can easily go in there and copy this and use this for your template. So you don't need to write all this yourself. If we look into the first line up here, you can see it says chapter equals instruction, $1030, $end. So this is the part, so the first part here until instruction, that is going to put in the English word, and this $ and the next word is the Danish language code that we have in there, and the last one here is the German language code. You don't need to add these language codes, but you can do that if you want to. The important part is here, chapter and equals introduction. So the note, write your introduction here, subchapter, that's going to be an objective. A note says write the objective here, and so on down there. So all of this I want to have added into my template. So I'm just going to minimize here and just go into the language independent field down there and paste this in there. So I've copied it, now I'm pasting it in, and now I have it in my template. So that's basically all we need to do to get those chapters and notes in there. So now I also want to have some kind of an end note in there, reminding my authors that they should write something in there for the end user. So I'm just gonna pick up this part here, note equals write. So that's what I'm copying. Going down to the new recordings steps after. So I'm just gonna go in there and paste this into the language independent area. So yeah, I could put in here, you have now completed the process. like that. So now I've added these two things to my template. So this endnote and then these chapters, subchapters, and so on for the recording, new recording steps. So I'm just going to save this. When I say this, I will, in my case, give it a new title. You don't necessarily need to do that. No test, like that, and save this. Once I save it, it will automatically add this change to the recording template. If I want to go back to my old template, I can always pick that from the drop down and have that used instead. But right now I'm going to look into this one. So I'm going to save that. So now I've done this change that I need to do to my recording template. So if I go back into my recording, one important thing to notice here is that normally all changes to the template will be applied to the recordings, but in this case, this will only be applied to new recordings. So you will not have that turning up on all your other recordings because it needs to be in the template before you start a new recording. Also, that equals the title that we have in the template. Okay, so if I want this to show up in my recordings, then I need to create a new recording. So I'm just gonna start up some kind of a new recording here. I'm not gonna add anything in there. I'm just gonna stop it when it is, when I see the green rectangle, just to have an empty recording, so to speak. So let's see. There we go. I'm just gonna stop it and save this as a note test. Now I have my recording in there. Let's have a look at the preview in here. And as you see, it has put in note test in the title. It's put in my chapter, my note, my objective. So these were the two sub-chapters I added in there, and the two notes in there reminding the end users or the author, sorry, to go in here and do the changes, add the background information, objective, and so on. Down here, you can also see after the steps, you will have the note coming in here. You've now completed the process. So that's how easy it is to put that into your template. So you might be thinking, okay, I've already created a lot of recordings until now. So my advice to you is maybe to take whatever you have in, if you don't have that aligned already in all your recordings, you could go in here, copy the chapters, the sub-chapters, and notes, and paste them into the recordings you already have in there, and that way have everything aligned that you have created previously. And then going forward, you would have this in your template, and everybody will be ready to add these changes in there. Okay, so that is basically it for my session here today. I would, although, like to do a little bit of advertising in here. Just a second. And I want to do that for my colleague here, because my dear colleague Morten, he actually has Morten's Corner, where he has created videos for stuff like this. So advanced videos in there on how you can utilize ClickLearn better. Take a look at it. It is fantastic. He has some very good recordings in there, and also this part is also residing in his videos in there on YouTube. So that's all for now, and over to my moderator and see if we have any questions over there.
Well, thank you very much, Lars. Yes, we do have a couple of questions, and if some of you out there are still holding on to some questions, just add them into the question pod or the chat pod, and then Lars will, of course, give some answers to it. But the first one we got here was actually, where do you find these language codes if you want to add them into the recording?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question. So let's have a look at the ClickLearn Studio. So in ClickLearn Studio, if you go beneath Tools and Preferences, in the Languages tab, you can see the languages that you've added. You can actually see the language codes already in there. But if you're missing any of the different languages, you can just have all the other languages popping up in there, and you can see all the digits in there for the different language codes.
Oh, fantastic. And one more question came in here. So in the template, you added in these language codes to this, but what if you have not done that? Can you still translate the notes and chapters with the auto translation, or do you have to do it in the template first?
Yes, that's also a very good question. Yes, the auto translator will take this and translate it. If you've added the languages to your list of languages, then you will have it translated if you use the auto translator. So this is a same procedure as if you're working with any other languages that you want to have it to translate notes and chapters and so on. By the way, one other information in this case is that you will also not get it into your recordings. If you're thinking, I can just replay my recordings and I'll have it coming in there, that's not the case here. It will not come into your replay as well, as it will not replay any chapters or notes at all. Any other questions?
Yep, there comes one here. Just a second, maybe. There we go. Could you please show how to copy paste items added to the template into other existing recordings?
Yes, I can do that. So let's say I want to have this. That's a very good question as well. So if I want to have all of this coming into, simply just a matter of marking whatever I want to have coming in there. So I can mark all of this that I want in there. I could actually mark everything, just Control C, and then I'll open my other recording from before and simply just go up here, oops, down, place it there and paste it back in here. I'll have all that in there. I simply just need to go in there maybe and overwrite. Maybe if you already have, put in some kind of a note and you want to have it below objective or maybe introduction, you can simply just double click on a note in here and paste it into the note instead of the text that you have in here already.
Thank you. And then Kevin has an answer, a question to where do you find this Morten's Corner?
Good question. So in the cloud portal, and all authors have access to this, you can simply just go over here and click on Watch Now, and you'll be taken directly to Morten's Corner. Also, I might also do some little bit of advertising now we're in here to join our community. If you click here, you can join the community, communicate with other customers in here, and go into dialogue with all the skilled authors and employees that we have here in ClickLearn are also monitoring this. So you can go into dialogue either with us or maybe with any of our customers, listen to what they have of experience, an example, how to use the replay, stuff like that. If you're in doubt how they are utilizing it, you can also do that in here.
Well, fantastic. If there's any more questions, we are unfortunately running a bit out of time, I can see, for this session. But you can, of course, go to the hub as Lars mentioned in the start to ask us questions. But it looks like that's what we have for today in this session here. So thank you very much, Lars. Any final?
Thank you as well. Any final questions?
No, I don't think so. Do you have any final notes before we leave?
No. I would just like to say thank you all for attending my session here. It's been a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to talking to any of you out there, either in the community or in other sessions. So have a great day, have a good evening, everybody, and see you out there.